this morning, I have two lawyers in the studio with me from the NPP and NDC communications team. From the camp of NDC, we have lawyer Philemon Lam. And then from the camp of the NPP, we have lawyer Enoch Afuakwa. Gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Good morning, sweetie.
Good morning. How are you feeling this morning?
Very well. Very confident about the prospects of this country and the NDC government.
Okay, let's get right into it. And you seem eager to share what's happening from the camp of the NDC.
The manifesto.
So what usually, at the start of the program, we'll give our guests a minute, 2 minutes tops to walk us through what's top of their mind. So this is your take.
Well, I am excited because I heard President Mahama deliver the manifesto of the NDC, and I'm so happy about the prospects of change, of resetting this country. I'm very excited about the fact that the nepotism and corruption and massive depletion, dissipation of the public funds of this country will be a thing of the past under the NDC government. It will never be said of an NDC government that an appointee of the NDC has benefited from scholarships. It will never be the case that under the NDC there will be state capture. Unlike the case where ministers and appointees of this NPP government are grabbing lands and contracts and the juiciest parts of government at the expense of the mass of our people. It will never be said. It will never be said under the government of President Mahama that persons living with disabilities will pay fees in universities. It will never be said under the government of President Mahama that first-year students in the universities, in fact, not only universities, but tertiary institutions all across this country will pay fees for first years. It will never be said of that. I'm very excited because President Mahama comes on the back of someone who has experienced the reins of government, someone who was prophetic enough to say, Bawumia, you have come nowhere near the presidency before. You do not know what it takes to lead a country. He said that. He said that, and today we have been vindicated because when you look left, you look right, you see nothing but incompetence, you see nothing but massive depletion. Look, the economy of this country, we have gone down. Look at our GDP ratio.
All right. Your 2 minutes.
Just a minute to just land on this issue of the debt to GDP. Under the NDC government, our debt to GDP ratio was about 55%. Under this NPP government, in 2022, it was 94%.
Mr. La, you
in
have
2023,
plenty of
it is
opportunity
89%.
to get
And the IMF,
Mr. La,
IMF
should I leave the
that in
show for you?
2024, it will go to 98%.
I see you're coming in hot. And I'm saying to you that you have plenty of opportunity. Usually we don't do this.
Very well.
But for the sake of our audience, so we can have a conversation, I'm going to be timing you.
Very well.
Even when we read the stories and we're discussing, I will not interrupt you. And if you have some follow-up or you want to probe, you can jot down whatever it is you want to talk about. And then when you get the chance, you speak. So that we are not overlapping each other and just causing a scene without, letting the audience understand what we are discussing. Enoch Afuakwa.
Sweetie Abochi.
Your 2 minutes take.
Yeah, let me say a very good morning to our viewers and extend the greetings of His Excellency, the incoming President of the Republic of Ghana, the quintessential Vice President, the PLS Vice President of our time, Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. In fact, he has demonstrated that he represents the future of our country. Last Saturday, I was highly aroused that the NDC organized a mammoth Copyfesto launch to endorse the major bold policies.
I want to get that word again. Copyfesto?
Copyfesto launch in Winneba to endorse most of the bold solutions of Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. That is why I see that as a copyfesto, because they have clearly plagiarized most of Dr. Bawumia's policies. And it shows that, yes, the man Bawumia has been destined to lead, and to lead is to serve, as he has always been termed as he has always referred to leadership as service to mankind. Dr. Bawumia has demonstrated, without any shred of equivocation, that yet, given the opportunity, he has not served as president before. He has been vice president. And we all tout him as the most peerless, as the most visionary, as the most forward-thinking and forward-looking personality of our time, as far as leadership is concerned. He has really defined what leadership is. And I was happy that during his 4 hours engagement with you, the press, no member of the press asked the question of corruption as far as the stewardship of Dr. Bawumia as vice president was concerned. I was highly amazed that nobody asked him, have you ever been corrupt? Whether as a human being or as vice president. Nobody asked him, are you the government official one?
Yeah.
So it shows that the integrity of Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, it's foolproof.
Okay.
That given the opportunity, And granted that he's given the opportunity under Article 57 to be the leader of the executive governance that we have in this country, and chairman of cabinet under Article 78, he will be able to demonstrate all the work without to be able to propel our country into the path of prosperity and the growth that we deserve as a country.
Right. So I just want to do this quickly. Yesterday, we were discussing the NDC's manifesto just launched. And I had political analysts or scientists, Dr. Kwame Asasante, even Dr. John Osai Kwapong, Professor Lord Mensah. And it appears that in rating both manifestos, it appears that they prefer, or they think that the NDC manifesto had more weight, had more, targeted approaches to how to deal with the issues in comparison to the NPP's manifesto. I'm saying this because you said they put out a copy fest of a manifesto.
Copy fest.
If they're copying you, and I mean it's theirs to use. If they did copy you, it's theirs to use how they want to, however they want to. How come they've done a more detailed job than what you put out?
Sweetie, how can a 77-page document be so detailed as compared to over a 240-page document? It certainly tells you that the NDC were not prepared. They only copied the NPP manifesto and just put out something out.
All right.
Just just to tell Ghanaians that they also have a document.
All right. Remember that
they have been in opposition for almost 8 years. And what is the anchor policy that they have that has been part of the NDC from 2016 up to date? Certainly none. Are you getting it? So they are only engaging in what we call they are only engaging what we call yentungum. What is 24-hour economy? We will get there.
Look, I just want to remind you, gentlemen, we have to get into the page. I just want to remind you that we are doing this so our audience can get the best out of this conversation. Certainly. So remember that I'm timing you, and don't try to interrupt the other person when he's speaking. I'll start with the Daily Graphic.
I'll get the chance to rest. He's spoken clearly more than...
I'll give you 30 seconds, quickly. Let's go.
The fact, you see, that impression that that word he used is a word I don't even want to repeat. I'll give you empirical evidence to show you that the NDC was years ahead in thought and in passion and patriotism than the NPP. At page 7 of our youth manifesto, we spoke about carrying out an aggressive Bed for All program. That's in our youth manifesto. And we launched it before their manifesto. But also on page 27, they repeat the same thing. Who has copied who? On page 22 of our 2020 manifesto, we speak about broadening the tax net. But they have spoken about it in page 21 of their 2024 manifesto.
All right.
Who has copied who?
Thank you.
Oh, I mean, let me expose him.
Remember, we have to get into the papers.
It is not a copy.
We have to get into the papers.
It is the effort of the political party that has no message.
Then we also
I'd have to mute you. Right. On the front page of the Daily Graphic, on this, the biggest story in the country, the drought we're experiencing, government outlines 8 billion Ghana cedis agri support, provides 1,000 Ghana cedis per hectare incentive to farmers. President inaugurates Temamoto Way School Junction Road project. And on the effects of galamsey, risk of cleft lip rises. Multi-billion city roads initiative launched in Tamale. And President Akufo, okay, that's just a photo of him cutting sword for that Temamoto Way School Junction Road project. Let's start with the biggest story right now, which is the drought situation. And it reads, the government has outlined an estimated 8 billion Ghana cedis, the equivalent of $500 million, plan on various interventions, mainly to support farmers affected by dry weather to ensure food security in the country. And the funds will be sourced from a combination of the contingency fund, budget realignment, and development partners. The Minister for Food and Agriculture, Dr. Brian Champon, at a press briefing yesterday, said estimates suggested that farmers in the affected areas had lost investment of approximately 3.5 billion Ghana cedis, risking a potential revenue loss of 10.4 billion Ghana cedis. And this is a very serious issue. When you look at the angles, there's a security angle where, the Ministry of Defense has deployed officials to the various posts at the borders to ensure that no one is exporting or smuggling maize, rice, and soybean out of the country because it's important. Simply put, nothing goes out, but more coming in, so that I think we found ourselves in a Joseph era. You remember when Joseph advised Pharaoh to, store up as much grain as possible because the season of hunger was near. That was when they had a season of plenty. But gentlemen, let me start with you, Enoch. What do you make of this drought situation and the figures that are coming out as support for the agric industry and how to salvage or mitigate the impact of this drought we're feeling? Yeah.
This is purely an act of God. And we know that as far as this drought spell is concerned, nobody envisaged that this will occasion our country. We thought that government has launched the planting and food and jobs phase 2, and the input suppliers and the aggregators were resolute in supplying the various inputs and various supplies to enable our farmers able to produce food that will be enough to feed our country and get more to even export outside to get forex to support our international reserves. But this is what has occasioned us as a country. And I believe that government as a forward-thinking government as a problem solver, as Baumia touted that to lead is to serve. Government is serving the people of this country well by putting in measures to be able to ameliorate the circumstances. We cannot occasion rain to drop, but at least government has set aside an 8 billion, or is looking for 8 billion Ghana cedis, equivalent to our $500 million US, to be able to neutralize the impact of this canker on the people of Ghana, especially on the peasant farmers and our farmers who have suffered gravely as far as this drought are concerned. You know, some of them have gone for loans, some of them have gone for other inputs to be able to cultivate, and at the end of the day, pay off their liabilities to their principals, their debtors. But as it stands now, it's becoming a challenge because the rain-fed agriculture is not that supportive enough to our needs as a country. You remember, Sweetie, that the issues of climate change also comes in handy here, as far as the savanna belts and the transitional zones of our countries are concerned. You believe that, you know, in time past, we decided as a country to be able to aggressively conduct a reforestation program up north there, but it ended up as a fiasco. If some of these measures have been taken critically, I believe that at least it will be able to sustain our climate and our biodiversity as far as the sustenance.
What was the challenge there? You said if it was taken seriously. What do you think was the challenge there?
Oh, you remember there are some Taba, Jida scandals and those kind of things that rocked that project in the erstwhile President Mohammed's era. That's the massive afforestation drive that were occasioned that we should be able to plant more trees to be able to sustain the biodiversity in the savannah and the transitional belts. Did not see the light of day. And at the end of the day, some people will have to be were punished or convicted as a result of this.
Some would argue that although we don't have control over the rains and drought, our actions as human beings impacted in the sense that the depletion of our forest reserves in no small way contributes to the lack of rains we experience.
Absolutely.
What's your response to that?
That's essentially what I am saying. I am an agric person.
Yes.
And
I'm talking about in the past 8 years. That we've been in the past 8 years, and I'm not making this political.
No,
we've seen a lot of depletion of forest reserves, right?
It is not a political statement.
Right.
The challenge here is certainly the southern sector is seeing some level of rains, but the northern sector, that is the major food basket of our country, is suffering because of the destruction of the flora and fauna in that region. Okay. And I believe that deliberate effort must be put in place aside these interim measures to be able to, as it were, put back the biodiversity and the climatic conditions properly. The afforestation program must be triggered alongside with the mitigation measures so that in the future, some of these things, even if they will occur, the impact will be minimal as far as that is concerned.
Thank you. Mr. La, what do you make of the situation?
Did you say the government has deployed the military to our borders?
Yes. Yesterday, the Minister of Defense was...
But have they done that to some of their ministers who are on record to be smuggling fertilizer and other farm implements out of this country? Have they done that? Has the government done that?
Name any minister.
At least there's an example. This is...
No, name any minister.
There's an example.
No, name any minister.
Enoch, don't do that.
Don't allow him. Let him name any minister.
Enoch, I said to you before we started that you don't interrupt him when he's sharing his thoughts. Please, let's have a conversation.
I'll come back to it.
Yes. Mr. La, go on.
There's a specific example of the Deputy Upper West Regional Minister. He's called Chinia. Chinia, there's a specific example of him. If he thinks that he should sue me. Enoch, you are a lawyer. I'm saying as a matter of fact that Chinia, Upper West Deputy Regional Minister, is on record to smuggle things out of this country. When farm implements are supposed to be used for the good of his people, he was sending them out of this country. Fertilizer for the use of farmers, he was transporting this out of this country, smuggling out of this country. That's a matter of fact. So it's very hypocritical if the government claims to be securing our borders when they are taking no tacit steps at making sure that their appointees, who are agents of smuggling, are not checked. That's a major indictment.
The current food crisis or looming food crisis.
I am coming on that. I just
want you
but
to
you see, on the issue of food crisis, I would want to situate this in the context of what the government should have done. There's supposed to be a buffer stock company of this country whose responsibility is to shore up the food reserves of this country over the years. You do not wait until a crisis happens before you start taking steps. Look, for 7 years, you have had the opportunity to ensure that you keep on beefing up the buffer of this country. That whenever there's an act of God, as you call it, we would have enough. It's not when the act of God happens that we are now looking left, right, and center and seeing how we can face the disaster. That's what this government has done. Knee-jerk reactions. There's been no sustainable, well-efficient, well-thought-through plan at ensuring that there's food, such that whenever there's anything like an act of God, this government of Ghana, by its steps, would have been wise enough to have enough to take care of this country for like 3, 4, 5 years.
But I listened to Brian Champon yesterday, and he said that it's not entirely a situation that cannot be salvaged, and that we are even part of the ECOWAS food reserves, and we have some sizable amounts.
It's a very point
he quoted some metric tons. I just can't remember the figure.
It's a very point I'm making.
Yes.
You see, a country is supposed to be...
So we do have food. It's just...
See, a country is supposed to be internally supreme and externally independent. And part of your external independence is ensuring that something as basic as food is something you can provide for your people. To the extent that this NPP government is banking its hopes on an ECOWAS program for food supply for the people of this country, it's most indicting. Most indicting because this government came on the back of a promise of 1 district, 1 factory, 1 village, 1 dam, planting for food and jobs. And all of these policies have been nothing but a failure. If planting for food and jobs, either phase 1 or phase 2, had been a success, we would have had a certain appreciation of the food reserves of this country. And that we will not have an agric minister who would now say, oh, the crisis is coming, let's now begin to close our borders and let's not export. That shows the inefficiency of this government. It shows the failure of the agric minister. It shows the overall failure of Alhaji Bawumia and Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo in their management.
I'll give you a minute to respond, and then we get into other stories.
Then he mentions that Philemon La mentions on your show that ministers of state are smuggling fertilizers.
And we would have to fact check that.
Check it. I mean, so it's there.
Once he mentions ministers of state, these are a small group of people.
Yes.
And he mentions a deputy Upper West regional minister. And in this government, we don't have a deputy Upper West regional. We don't have even a deputy regional
sanitation minister. Deputy sanitation minister.
Deputy
sanitation minister.
So he's mentioned deputy sanitation minister. And I believe that Honorable is around, and he can take him on as far as his
deputy sanitation minister. As a matter of fact,
these are statements that is made on
for you, you're a lawyer.
Yes,
so
I am.
I mean, but I'm just saying that these are his thoughts, and we cannot verify at this very moment.
I thought he was going to have any solid defense out of that. When you
no.
All right, so
I can defend an allegation that
at least a minister of your government, at least a minister, one of your ministers, and on record to have smuggled.
What I will say is that it is
smuggled out of this country.
And probably
inefficient government.
To prove your own allegation.
The point he was making is that if we are deploying security personnel to, secure our borders, we should be doing it. It should be an all-encapsulating approach, not just right now that we are facing a, food crisis, that we should be preventing the smuggling of these grains from the country, but the other things that also contribute to the agricultural sector, like fertilizers and the rest. Those should also be, we should pay attention to that as well.
Sweetie, what government is seeking to do is to be able to preserve the stock that we have as a country in order not to deplete the stock for us to have a higher food inflation values as we are currently existed in the past. Okay. And certainly, it's a step in the right direction. Government is only beefing up securities at the various entry points and exit points of our country to be able to ensure that we sustain ourselves as far as the stocks of food that we have in the country is concerned.
Okay.
And what he's saying about smuggling of farm inputs and the likes, and he's mentioning names. And the names that he has mentioned, all that I can say on your show is that these are factually inaccurate. It is a deliberate ploy just to smear the hard-earned integrity of some members of government. And you remember that this is no news. In the year 2006, 2007, the NDC started the Great Ashanti Project and started that President Kufuor was building an Ashanti as an empire, was trying to project to 2-4 and all blah, 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 blah. The stock of money that the NPP had in a certain bank in this country was even more than the stock of money resources at the Bank of Ghana. They have repeated this mantra up to this time. And now they even came with a Japadia, a book that has no author. And the likes, and you can have some academics speak to this unmeritorious documents and those things. So
if only you could read some of the comments coming in from our Facebook page. I'll give you the chance. I'll give you the chance. So let's get into other stories. So now on the effects of Galamsey, I'll come back to you.
I think I should respond to
No, I will come back to you. I will. Okay. So on the effects of Galamsey, risk of cleft lip rises. Health experts have warned that Ghana risks having more children being born with cleft lip and palate, as heavy metals used in illegal mining have polluted many drinking water sources. And it's not just, this story telling us this now. We've been seeing reports of it all over the place. Our water bodies have turned brown, like Milo. The Chief Executive Officer of Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Opokuware Ampoma, who sounded the warning, explained that substances from Galamsey activities had contaminated many water bodies, pointing out that each substance could cause birth defects. And addressing you, this was in an address, let me quote, cleft lips are caused by a number of factors, genetic factors and environmental factors. Those genetic factors that the baby inherits an abnormal gene, but the environmental factors contribute to children getting cleft lips, and these may be due to vitamin deficiency or some medications or toxins that pregnant mothers are exposed to. And we know that heavy metal contamination or some of the substances that are used in illegal mining activities can cause birth defects, he said. So this is the CEO of Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Opokuware, saying that as we speak, children, the risk of newborn babies coming in with cleft lip is rising, and because of our Galamsey activities. Before we get into this, I'll give you the chance to respond to Enoch, and then tell me how you intend to deal with Galamsey head-on. I mean, I know that you want to also talk about the approach of the NPP, but make your points short for me in about 2 minutes. Go.
This is in response to a rebuttal.
Start with that.
You see, Enoch should be careful in coming out to defend when the person has admitted already. The person I'm speaking about, the Honorable Chinya, in fact, the dishonorable Chinya, on record at your sister station.
And we do have to move on from this because I said to you that I want to. Yes.
Give me a minute to respond to that. Let me respond to that. The dishonorable Chinya is on record to have admitted at your sister station. He admitted his complicity in state capture. He admitted. So what are you defending, Enoch? The man himself has admitted, and you are here to defend him, to gendarme him. Come on, my brother. We deserve better than that.
So Galamsey.
On the issue of Galamsey, President Mahama and the NDC's policy on Galamsey it's clear. We think that you see, most of the Galamsey we do not blame the poor person from some part of this country who is doing Galamsey. Blame the people in government, appointees of this NPP government who are mining wantonly without regard to the laws of this country in forest reserves. They are the ones who are causing most of the Galamsey problems we find in this country. You see, it is very easy and simplistic for you to say that, oh, some group of young people in some community are mining illegally. As much as that is condemnable, I think the crack of the matter is the fact that NPP appointees are complicit in the menace of Galamsey. President Mahama has promised in our manifesto that it will not be the case that appointees of his government are involved in any way, shape, or form, in any form of state capture. To the extent that illegal mining, as it is happening in this country in our forest reserves, President Mahama is assuring that we shall protect our forests, we shall take practical steps at ensuring that our water bodies are healthy and safe enough. Remember, President Mahama comes on the back of a promise of something in the fashion of Obamacare. We have the Mahama Care Policy, a medical trust fund that is available for people that are suffering from various forms of diseases and sicknesses, including those that may suffer from all of these adverse effects of Galamsey. Right. So we are committing that Galamsey is a menace that needs to be fought, but we're also ensuring that the livelihood of people, young people in this country who have the resolve to work hard, who have the resolve to ensure that their industry put food on their table, will be supported to mine sustainably, to mine well, and ensure that they're able to put food on the table of their people. Okay. Let's remember that this government has presided over a regime where young people in this country who have no source of hope have resorted to mining. If the people of this country had any sustainable means of this country, they will not resort to crime and cut it down of their cocoa trees just to mine. It is the failure of this Akufo-Addo Bawumia government.
You know, Is it really a lack of the will to fight galamsey, or are we just not approaching it the right way? How do you assess the situation?
If I am here and my colleague lawyer makes this spurious allegation against a deputy minister of state, as far as dishonesty, stealing, one of the key elements of stealing is dishonesty, is concerned, that he has admitted on a sister network that he has been smuggling fertilizer out of the shores of this country, then I believe that if indeed he has evidence to it, fine. But if he doesn't have evidence and he's talking of admission, then clearly he doesn't understand what evidence is in accordance with the Evidence Act of 1975, Act 323. As far as Section 119, which dictates the pace of admission and confessions are concerned, he doesn't understand what evidence is. How can the Deputy Minister of State, who knows the ramifications, the consequences of an admission of a crime, admit that he has smuggled fertilizer out of the shores of this country? Never say this anywhere. As far as public communication is concerned, Philemon La, you are so young and you don't have to do this to yourself. You don't have to enjoy yourself in this manner. Because I believe the Deputy Minister is watching and probably he will take action.
Move on from
I'm moving on. He's talking about Mahama Care. President Akufo-Addo and Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia have contributed massively into the construction or the investment in the health sector of this country robustly. You talk of the hospital project that have been started and completed under this regime. It's PLS. You talk of the massive boost in Agenda 1 district hospitals. Ongoing. Fantastic. You talk of the construction of district regional hospitals. The 500-bed Fian Kwanta Hospital in the Western region, the Eastern regional hospitals and the likes are all progressing steadily and also
struggling to get are you saying that we have enough hospitals to cater for the situation rather than solving it at the root?
He mentioned Mahama Care, and I'm telling you, if Mahama cares, Akufo-Addo Bawumia cares more than what you can put at a mere rhetoric.
Let's take to galamsey.
As far as galamsey is concerned, mining is concerned.
This is a serious issue.
It has come to stay. Is it?
Newborn babies who are innocent coming into this world for the first time.
I am a researcher in the mining sector, and I have conducted a lot of researches on heavy metal accumulation and its exposures and the ramifications of heavy metal accumulation to the human health and all those kind of things. I am still engaging in research in the mining sector myself. So as far as these are concerned, if somebody tells us, yes, the exposures of heavy metals is not only as a result of mining, we have other forms of exposures to heavy metal accumulation and contamination in our country that we must be resolute and look to curb or nip this menace in the bud. Sweetie, Dr. Bawumia is proposing a natural resource bank. The natural resource bank is going to be a boost as far as the extraction of our natural resources are concerned. What our people need is investment in that sector to be able to mine and mine sustainably. As it stands now, there is no way that any government can come and say that the government is stopping mining in Ghana, being it large-scale or small-scale mining. But what we can do is to be able to ensure that mining is conducted in an environmentally friendly and sustainable manner. And this is what we are lacking now. With all measures that have been put in place, we still have some, sorry to say, miscreants who are hell-bent on going into this activity or undertaking to be able to mine without recourse to the environmental pollutions and those kind of things. And this is what Dr. Bawumia is proposing, that we are going to invest. I'm coming. Let me land on this. Invest massively in this. As far as retooling and recapitalization of this sector is concerned, put them in community mining schemes to be able to regularize and regulate the activities and ensure that the impact of the activities to the environment is minimal.
Great.
So that the end result is the capital that we get from it will be able to support our country, where the Bank of Ghana also gets.
You do have to land at some point. So what I'm saying to you now is that the president said he was putting his presidency on the line to fight galamsey. The question I asked you before you started, do you think that there's a lack of political will to actually fight galamsey? All the work we claim to have been doing, I mean, I'm not excusing your administration as well. All the work we claim to have been doing in the fight against galamsey to this point, why haven't we seen anything to the point that young babies are standing the risk of, cleft slip?
In the Fourth Republic.
How do you, as an individual, as a citizen in this country, how do you feel about this?
In the Fourth Republic, if you want to see any president that has committed to the fight against galamsey, as far as political will is concerned, then you cannot go without mentioning the name President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo. In fact, if you really understand the sector and what goes into that sector, you really envisage that President Akufo-Addo has done his best as far as the fight against the illegal mining mandate is concerned. With securitization of this illegal mining sector, the retooling, the investment, the capital injection to aid our security agencies to be able to fight the mandate, and even bringing on board the mineral, the livelihood empowerment program for those who were taken out of the illegal mining space, as far as that was concerned, and a whole lot of things that were brought into that space.
Let me put two situations side by side
Yeah,
for you and show you what you're doing right now, right? So it's just like we're talking about how there's hiking food prices, and you know, the economy is hard, and people are struggling to make ends meet and have 3 square meals a day. And then the government is telling us that, oh, but inflation, the numbers are coming down, but it's not actually reflecting in our pockets, right? On Galamsey, I'm saying to you that the president said emphatically that he was putting his presidency on the line. But we've seen many rivers turn brown. Have you seen any? And you cannot say, on the back of all the reports and all the cries from the people, you know, in so many parts of this country. Recently, there was a report about people starting to mine, I mean, in the middle of the road, really. You cannot say that in the Fourth Republic, if you want to talk about a president who's really fought Galamsey, in fact, it has even affected the quality of cocoa that we produce in this country. You cannot say, and I cannot let you say this without actually backing it with some facts. How are you saying this, that the President Akufo-Addo is the one president in the Fourth Republic who's fought Galamsey in this Fourth Republic? I struggle to get you.
So you are struggling to get me because you lack understanding in the mining sector.
I'll let that pass.
Yes. No, you shouldn't let it pass. You should bring it on.
You know,
because you mentioned rightly that people are mining in the middle of the road. Which road are they mining in?
Have you not heard of cocoa farmers giving up their lands?
No, you said they are mining. No, you said they are mining in the middle of the road, sweetie. That's what you said on this platform.
Please help me get that report that was brought by Erasmus Asari Donko.
Middle of the road.
That story, please send.
Yes.
He's asking me for it now to show him that. Please.
Recently, there was a news that broke up as far as the Accra-Kumasi highway was concerned. And the news was that people are mining close to the highway. And when you are driving along the highway, you can see them work. And I think that operation has been brought to a halt. We believe that, yes, government is doing its best. Which part of this country is without a district police headquarters, a district police command? Which part of this country is without a journalist or a media station or outlet or with that regard?
Okay.
Certainly, as far as this menace is concerned, it is not a one-man show. But President Akufo-Addo put his presidency on the line and suffered the consequences of it in the 2020 general elections. Look at the number of seats. A traditional seat like Upper Denchira West constituency, the New Patriotic Party lost that because of the fight against Galamsey.
You know,
and you say that the government has not.
Discerning, eh? And so
I am also a discerning person. If you tell me your audience are discerning, I am also an audience, and I'm also a discerning person.
I'm just
but if you use that word, that your audience are discerning, it means that I'm spewing, nonsense or foolishness.
No,
that's what you are trying to tell me.
You know, calm down.
No, that's what you are trying to tell me.
What I'm saying is
that as a guest.
The people.
No, you are trying to tell me that as a guest, I am spewing out foolishness or nonsense.
Hold on.
No, it is not a fair comment. It is not a fair comment. It is an implied comment that you pass on to me. It is not a fair comment at all.
So I did not say anything wrong.
You sought my opinion.
I am just saying that you, our audience, are discerning enough that you can understand and you can assess for yourself who is saying, you know, who is speaking with fact and how the real situation affects you on the ground. Because the people in the communities that this Galamsey activity is affecting cannot hear you say this right now and say that because I'm saying they're discerning, I'm insulting you. I would never insult you, Enoch.
You can do whatever you want.
Mr. La, let's get into your thoughts.
The fact of the matter is that President Akufo-Addo has showed great political will as far as the fight against Galamsey is concerned. But if we feel that there is still more to be done, it cannot be said that he has not committed to the fight against Galamsey. Right. He has not performed as far as the fight against illegal mining.
Point noted. Mr. La.
Seeing this exchange that has just gone on, I think I would dispense. I was going to respond when he brought about the issues of evidence. He's my junior at the bar. He knows that. He's my junior at the bar. So to sit here and want to supposedly teach me the law is something you have to be careful about. But I'll let that pass. I'll let that pass because when the issue of Galamsey...
Even judges get it wrong. Even judges get it wrong. So don't bring that in. You were wrong on what you said. He admitted to the commission of a crime. And what step have you taken?
Right.
No, what step have you taken?
Mr. La.
And where lies juniority and seniority in this matter? Judges get it wrong. Even the Supreme Court.
You cannot take over the show like that.
No, I'm not taking it.
But so your time is up. Please mute Enoch for me. Mr. La, we'll hear you now.
When the issue of mining comes up, all other issues must drop. Your egos must drop. because the lives of those children that are being born is most important. I know people that have lived in mining communities, and I see the devastating effect that Galamsey is having on them. On the other hand, I know people in this NPP government who have overnight become millionaires because of their complicit involvement in illegal mining. I know that. I remember Nana Asantehene, the very wise king. A lot of government officials went to visit him at Misha, and he said some very wise words. He said that in this very room, I mean referring to the audience that had assembled before him, 90% of the problem of illegal mining are assembled here. Nana Asantehene said that when ministers, including the lands minister, the president, top government officials, party officials gathered before Nana Asantehene at Misha, Nana Asantehene said that. Are you saying that Nana Asantehene lied? He said that 90% of them, the problem of Galamsey, had gathered in his palace. So the fact of the matter is that if this government meant well, let me not go into that proclamation by Nanado that he was putting his presidency on the line. Nanado is one politician. He and Baumia are politicians who have said A and they mean Z, who have promised and have not been able to fulfill. Of course, he said that, but unfortunately, he has failed to live by that promise. Because when you go across the length and breadth of this country, illegal mining is on edge. Our water quality has reduced. The water we drink in this country, look, over the next few years, you begin to see the effect of this on the lives of people. Because previously, where the Ghana Water Company was sourcing water from all of these rivers and then cleaning, but there's a heavy pollution of metals. That is the problem that the few people that have become rich are inflicting on the larger population of this country. Even fish that we consume.
But Mr. La, you are also just reiterating the problems. During Mohammed's time, there was Galamsey.
There was Galamsey.
What are you doing differently this time?
What I want you to understand is that you cannot compare oranges and stones. President Mohammed is miles ahead of this NPP government and Alhaji Bawumia. Under President Mohammed's government, admittedly, there was some degree of illegal mining. But the water was not brown as we have today, was it? Cocoa production had not declined. For the history, in the first time in the history of this country, our production of cocoa has declined because people are now cutting down cocoa trees to mine illegally. The quality, the output of the tonnage of cocoa that we produce in this country has reduced drastically. Admittedly, cocoa board is no more as profitable as it used to be. And these are the indicators you can use to ascertain the devastating effect of illegal small-scale mining on the economy of this country. Is it not on record that somebody, if I mention him, Chairman Wuntumi was involved in Akunta mining? Is it not a matter of fact? It's not a matter of fact that Akunta mining was fingered for mining in a forest reserve. And
I'm
before,
have to say that
and
don't
before,
make any more allegations.
It's not an allegation, it's a matter of fact.
It's not an
allegation.
saying to you that we've had enough and we need to get into the stories.
As
okay?
a matter of fact, on the complicity of Akunta mining in illegal small-scale mining in a forest reserve, even before the statutory bodies could conclude their investigation, the president, the same president who said he was putting his presidency on the line to ensure that Galamsey is a thing of the past, came out and cleared Akunta mining of any wrongdoing. Is it the president's job to do that? Is this how someone who has promised to ensure that Galamsey is a thing of the past should speak? But that is the character of Akufo-Addo.
Right.
It doesn't mean the words he says. So I think that President Mohammed's commitment to the fight against illegal small-scale mining is solid, robust. We believe that small-scale mining groups will be allowed and given the permission to mine responsibly. We're also looking at reclamation.
Do you remember that, Mr. La, do you remember that, during President Mohammed's time, there was some tension between the Chinese government and us because of the influx of Chinese in the Galamsey sector? Do you remember that? Do you remember that? At that time, because we had lots of Chinese people here.
If there was any tension between the Ghana government and the Chinese government, it was because of President Mohammed's solid position on the fact that this country shall not be used as an instrument for the enrichment of Chinese nationals at the expense of the people of this country. It was because President Mohammed believed that you cannot leave your country and come and pollute the water bodies of this country and mine abysmally. That was the commitment of President Mohammed. But what do we see today? We see Aisha Wang. We see the case of Aisha Wang in this NPP government. Aisha Wang was allowed to leave this country in the name of a diplomatic exchange, despite the massive...
You have to land on that point.
Despite the massive devastation of our environment.
Let's get into your
That was Aisha Wang for you.
You have the Ghanaian Times.
So where is Aisha Wang?
First,
where is Aisha Wang now? Where is Aisha Wang now? She has been incarcerated.
Let's get to, yeah.
So if you talk of, you see Aisha Wang in this menace now, you don't really understand what diplomatic exchange is concerned. So just, I will not even take you on because you lack understanding of that sector. International relations.
Come on, let's get
You need to take a course in that. Ghanaian Times.
Civil language is... But you should check, we should hold him to that.
Ghanaian Times.
You don't sit there and allow him pass comments like this and say, keep
the
quiet.
Ghanaian
Why
Times.
do you
I'm
do
not saying
that?
keep quiet.
Yes, I mean, but you don't allow him spew out words like this.
He said he didn't actually insult. He said you lack understanding. And I mean,
Very well.
that's his opinion of you. It's
Very
not,
well.
if it's not the fact
And I
for
hope
you,
the
it's
viewers
not.
are listening to the arrogance.
Is it arrogance?
Gentlemen, come on.
It is arrogance.
So you see, you are showing out for our viewers.
it
But
is
really,
arrogant.
we should be having... Let's
It's
get into
something
the
that you don't
papers.
We're having a decent conversation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Come on.
So-
Not flippant
Come
comments
on.
like this.
So what you
So
lack
the front
understanding-
page of the
you lack
Ghanaian Times,
understanding
should I
of that
take
subject
that?
matter.
Okay.
So the Ghanaian Times, government begins Temamoto reconstruction. Project to cost $350 million, expected to be completed in 36 months. So,
Oh, there are some other stories there. Just give us a sense of what's
okay.
on the paper first.
Akosombo Dam spillage, 200 million Ghana cedis released for resettlement projects. Looming food crisis, grains export banned due to prolonged dry spell in 8 regions.
You touched on that story.
Yana hails government for dedication towards improving road infrastructure in northern region.
Okay, we can only do one of those stories.
Yana hails government for dedication towards improving road infrastructure in northern region.
Okay.
So government begins Temamoto Way reconstruction. And yesterday, the government cut sword for the reconstruction of the 10-lane Temamoto Way, the 19-kilometer Temamoto Way express highway. And it's an express highway, 10-lane express highway. And the project is set to be completed in 36 months. I believe that anyone who uses the Temamoto Way has seen works already started as far as the size of the existing road bed is concerned. That they've started clearing both sides and the contractors are outside.
This is the first time, though, that they've cut sword for some construction work on the motorway.
Well, I'm not aware. We've seen the motorway expansion project. We've seen the motorway interchange project, the phase 1, phase 2. The phase 2 is almost getting completed.
But why now? Because I remember there was some sword cutting on this same Temamoto Way reconstruction a couple of years back. Why now? Why now?
I'm taken aback. I don't remember what you are saying, and you can let your viewers know.
Sure.
But what matters most is that government has shown dexterity as far as the state of the Temamoto Way is concerned. And this is a major highway in our country. It doesn't only serve Ghana, it serves the ECOWAS sub-region as well. Our neighbors in Togo,
In 36
Benin,
months, you said?
Nigeria, and the likes.
Okay.
And government is seeking to harness the potential in the public-private partnership to be able to execute this road infrastructure for the benefit of our country.
Okay.
And not all the burden are coming onto the government of Ghana finances.
Okay.
I believe that the private sector is going to take a chunk of it, and it's a PPP arrangement that government is using to execute this project.
Great.
And this
So
is
we are
part of
wrapping up.
It's going to be part of the over 12,000 kilometers of road infrastructure the government has constructed.
Right.
As far as the reign of...
Take us through your paper briefly, and then one story, and then we have to go. We really have to go.
Something called Cash for Go
What paper is that?
It's called the New Republic.
Okay.
It says Cash for Go scandal rocks the Ghana Tourism Development Corporation. The CEO blows 500,000 cedis on girlfriend with a cook deal. We have always spoken about the massive corruption that has characterized this NPP government. And this is another example that when you look left and look right, there's nothing but stinking, pungent, ammonia-like corruption that is characterized this Baumia, Alhaji Akufo-Addo government. They are nothing but an association of family and friends and cronies of this NPP government who are ripping this country dry of the resources. Nothing. How can you give your girlfriend 500,000 Ghana cedis? 500,000 Ghana cedis. CEO, and the president is quiet about that. We have not heard the president talk about it. We have not heard Alhaji Baumia talk about it. You see, there's a thing about saying that nobody asked Alhaji Baumia a question about corruption. I am asking Alhaji Baumia right now, what are you doing about this?
All right, you have to land on that note for me. Thank you.
Alhaji Baumia, will you fire this CEO?
You heard the lawyer Philemon La, a member of the NDC communications team. I was also joined by lawyer Enoch Afuakwa, a member of the NPP communications team. And both gentlemen joined me to review the newspapers and the stories making waves. My name is Fiti Abochi, but ushering in AM Court now with Tao Nabila Abdullahi. Stay tuned.
3 days ago,